Conservative commentator and columnist Eric Erickson decided to mock scientists at the Values Voters Summit. This should be fun.
We live in a day and age where there are a whole lot of people who tell us we don't have a purpose. The arguments couldn't be more clear in this age when so many people worship science as the end of all things. There are some who believe we were an accident of primordial goo, particles bumping into each other after the Big Bang, creating bacteria that created amoeba, that created something that led to something that led to something, a missing link. And then men. Somewhere in there, there's a monkey, apparently. But we're an accident. And if we're an accident, we have no purpose. Or our purpose is pleasure. The highest and best use of mankind is pleasure. To maximize pleasure and minimize pain. That was a Roman philosopher of the first century. Sounds like somebody you'd hear today on that Cosmos series on Fox. I see a world that is opposed to us in this room because we're headed home to eternity. We're just passing through. But while we're passing through, my parents always told me we've got an obligation to make this place better than when we left it. Better does not mean leaving people to moral relativism. Better does not mean leaving people to their own devices. Better does not mean telling people you got no purpose or go find your own purpose. Better means telling people there is a future. There is a last day. And there is a side. Pick a side and the right side wins. Better means love, but not the love of this world. I would submit to you, if you really love in the way Christ tells us to love, you got to love someone enough that you don't want them to go to hell.
It's so childish. Everything about that was so childish. He is begging the answer. He wants it to be true so bad that his religion is correct and Jesus is God and there's a heaven and a hell and live the way that we're living and then everything will be okay and then we'll be alive forever and it'll be great and I'll hang out with Elvis in heaven and we'll watch movies together and hold hands. But just because you want it to be true doesn't mean it is true. And he's got this condescending and arrogant tone, totally unearned, because he didn't do the hard work of actually learning about the world. He's just pontificating about what he wants to be true and acting as if it is true. And that's the saddest thing. If you want something to be true, it doesn't mean it is true. You can't just assume it is. There's no humility in these people, and they act like we're the ones that are arrogant. They're the ones that are arrogant. They're acting like if you don't agree with our religion and our worldview and the way we believe, well, then you're an idiot. No. We say we don't know. You want to know why we say that? Because we don't fucking know. You don't know either, but you're making shit up to fill in the blank. How is it that anybody with any intelligence can believe that the one religion that they were born into, of the thousands of religions that have existed throughout time, okay, and space, right, that, oh, well, we got it right. We got it right. It's not the Mormons, it's not the Buddhists, it's not the Hindus, it's not the Scientologists, it's not the Roman gods, it's not the Greek gods, it's not voodoo witch doctors, it's not Santeria, it's not Amazonian jungle gods, it's not any other god that ever existed throughout all of human history. We are the ones that have it exactly right. Well, how fucking convenient. The one you were born into were the ones that got it exactly right. Or maybe you're just rationalizing because you want to feel better about the situation you were born into. So the world needs to surround me perfectly and everything we believe is so right. The only people who rise above that are secularists. They're objective enough to take a step back and go, well, let's look at all this and see what's true. If you really want to be objective about it and you want to really pick a religion, you have to evaluate every single one and determine which one makes sense, right? Or try to evaluate the evidence and see what coincides with objective reality, and none of them do. And look, he makes this false argument that so many Christians make of it's either Christianity or nihilism and you hate everything. What are you talking about? There's only 4,762 other options. We cannot believe in Christianity and be perfectly happy and perfectly fulfilled and perfectly passionate in our lives. In fact, my philosophy is very simple. Since this is likely, okay, although I don't know because I don't pretend to know shit I don't, right? But we should try to live this life as good and moral and just and happy as possible because for all we know, this is our only shot at being conscious. I think when I die, it's going to be the exact same to me as it was in 1878. I just didn't exist, so I won't exist when I die. Again, I don't know if that's true because I haven't died yet, so I can't fucking know. But if I had to take an educated guess, that would be my educated guess, because I already was once in a position of non-existence, and I just didn't fucking exist. But that doesn't mean let's all hate life and let's all kill people. It's the opposite. If this is my only chance at a conscious life, well, why not do things that make myself happy and make others happy? Why not do charity and make people smile? Why not abide by a moral code? Why not find meaning and purpose and passion in this life as I choose fitting? And Erik Erikson literally mocks that at one point. You heard him. Why would we tell people to find their own purpose? And what's his solution? Just to force people to become Christians, convert them. That's the kind of life that makes sense. Or you're wasting your life believing some sort of supernatural dogma that doesn't make any sense, never did, and never will. Just like somebody who lived in the year 700 in Mongolia who had their own beliefs and believed it 100% in terms of gods and supernatural beings. And the final thing I'll say here, two things actually. He says, somewhere in us there's a monkey, and he got a laugh from the crowd. Well, nobody says it's a monkey because monkeys are a relative, but we have a common ancestor with a monkey. That's the reality. We don't literally come from monkeys. We come from apes. There is a difference, okay? But the idea that that's a laugh line because, it's so untrue. Stupid secular people. We don't come from monkeys. We do come from apes. That's a fact. And how do you not see the parallels? We share over 99% of our DNA with them, with, other primates. How do you not see the connection? You have the same number of hair follicles on your body as they do. You both defecate. Do you not see the connection here? Do you not see how we look alike with them? We are alike with them. You still have primal urges, emotions, happiness, sadness, anger, sexual feelings. But they mock it. Like, whatever. Oh, no, we're not. We're so far above and beyond anything that's ever lived, ever. And finally, my favorite thing is when he mocks the idea that we should maximize pleasure and minimize pain. See, he thinks that he's making a point to slam hedonism, which is basically overindulging yourself in whatever it happens to be, drugs, sex, and trying to fill what they would say is a void inside of you of, they can't fill that God-sized hole with sex and drugs or whatever. Okay? But to mock the idea that human beings should try to be comfortable and happy and have pleasure and have passion in their life and avoid pain, I don't know how anybody could mock that. I mean, so what are you saying? Should we try to maximize pain? Should I chop my leg off this Thursday because Erik Erikson wants me to be in pain? Should I try to minimize my pleasure, minimize my happiness? So I should just live a miserable life. But therein lies this conundrum. Okay? Therein lies the answer to the conundrum, actually. See, that's what Erik Erikson has decided. I will pick my arbitrary Christian moral code over happiness. I will pick my arbitrary Christian moral code and trying to convert people over living a fulfilling life in terms of actually trying to make this planet better and actually giving a fuck about people. So there are your choices. Okay, you have the Erik Erikson wing of Christianity, and he represents conservative Christians very well. The idea that Neil deGrasse Tyson is an asshole because he believes in science, and if you don't agree with us, you're a nihilist and you hate life. Either join those miserable people who are literally anti-pleasure, or we'll take in with a smile on our face.